What's up, guys? This is Chase Bros, and I'm finally back with part 3 on how to never lose at tic-tac-toe. Now, I'm sorry it took me so long to make this one. I just got busy, life got in the way, and to tell you the truth, I wasn't very motivated to do it because I don't know how many of you guys are actually interested in this, but I didn't want to leave the series unfinished. Now, if you're new to these videos, you're going to want to go back and watch part 1 and 2 first. In part 1, we talked about the corner game, how to win if you go in the corner first and how to avoid losing if your opponent goes into the corner first. In part 2, we talked about the middle game, how to win if you go in the middle first, and how to avoid losing if your opponent goes in the middle first. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the side game, or how to win when you go into the side first and how to avoid losing if your opponent goes into the side first. Now, out of all the videos, this one is probably going to be the most important one that you watch and understand. The reason why that is because the side game is the least understood game in tic-tac-toe, because it's the most complicated one. In all my experiences of playing tic-tac-toe with people, this is the game that I see happen the least. People are scared to go on the side first because they don't understand the game. In fact, I've played people online that have had names like Unbeatable or something similar, and I have won them in this type of game when they have tried to eventually go into the side first, and then they end up losing. There's actually a good amount of people that play tic-tac-toe that more or less kind of understand the corner game and the middle game and how to win or avoid losing in those type of situations. But when it comes to the side game, because it's so complicated, not a lot of people are familiar with it. So you understanding it and how to use it to your advantage will greatly help you never lose. It doesn't matter if you're on the offensive and you want to go on the side first, or your opponent happens to go on the side first and you can actually end up winning even though you're on the defensive. That's something that's very rare in tic-tac-toe. So with that, let's get started. So we're first going to go over how to win when you go into one of the side spaces first. And it doesn't matter which side space, okay? The rules that I'm going to show you apply to all of them. Alright, so let's just pick one of these. I'm going to pick the top one just for this example. If I go into the top space first and my opponent goes into any one of these 4 spaces, then they'll automatically lose if you follow the next rule I'm going to give you. So depending on which one of those 4 spaces that they go into, that will decide where you go. If they pick one of the 2 on the left, for example, then you're going to go on the left right next to where you went your first move. So let's pick one of these spaces on the left for them to go into. Let's say this one. Okay, then you're going to go right next to where you went first on the left, like you're following them. Okay, now obviously they're going to block you. Okay, now you're going to block them right there in the middle. And also, as you can see, you have 2 ways to win. Let's do that again. And this time we'll pick that other spot on the left, one up from the last example. Okay, so the rule's the same. Since they went on the left, you're going to go on the left right next to your first move. Okay, now they have to block you. And just like the last time, you're going to go in the middle, even though you don't need to block them. You're going to go in the middle. And again, that gives you 2 ways to win. So we just went over how to win when your opponent goes into one of those 4 side spaces, either on the left or the right. Well, what happens when they go into any one of those remaining spaces? Can you still win? Well, let's see. Let's talk about these 2 spaces right here. This middle one and this one below the middle on the bottom. If they go into one of those 2 spaces, you still have a chance to win. It won't be automatic like it was when they went in one of those 4 side spaces in the beginning, but you still have a chance. So to start out, let's talk about this bottom space right here below the middle. So if they go there, then the best thing for you now to do will be to go right next to them on either side of them. It doesn't matter which side, just pick one. So if I go on the side of them, they now still have 4 ways to lose. Okay, just like in the beginning when I first went in the side. Now they have 4 ways to lose still. Okay, and it's these 4 spaces right here. If they go into any one of those, I automatically win. Now I'm not going to show each one of these games for each one of these spaces. You guys can, run through that when you're practicing. But I'll just show one, and it's pretty simple. Let's just pick a random one. Let's say they go here. Okay. Obviously, it's now easy to see where you need to go. That will give you 2 ways to win and guarantee yourself the win. For example, right here. Okay, you see you have 2 ways to win, so it doesn't matter which one they block, you still win. So let's talk about now what you should do if your opponent goes into the middle for their first move. If they go into the middle, then the best move for you to do now is to go right next to them on either side, just like in the last example, okay? Doesn't matter which side, let's just pick one. Okay, so after I go there, they now have 3 ways that they can still lose, and it's these 3 spaces right here. And again, I'm not going to show all of these, I'm just going to show one because it's obvious what you should do to win after they go in one of these 3 spaces. So let's just pick one. Let's say they go here. Okay, and it's obvious where you should go in order to guarantee yourself the win. Right here. Now I have 2 ways to win, doesn't matter which one they block. I still win. Alright, so now we need to talk about these last 2 top corner spaces up here. What do you do if your opponent goes into one of those? Well, I'm going to show you, and I'm only going to do one because they're the same. So let's say your opponent goes here. If your opponent goes there, the best move now for you to do in this situation, and I'm only going to show you the best because you actually can do a couple different things right now, but like I said before, I'm not going over every game possible. I'm only showing you the best options available to you so you can have the most ways to win still. So your best move that you can do now is to go underneath them in this bottom left hand corner space right here. So if I go there, my opponent now has 4 ways or spaces that they can lose, and it's these spaces right here. If they go into any one of those, I can automatically win on my next move by getting 2 different ways to win. So I'm not going to show you all of these ways, okay, just like in the last examples. I'm just going to pick one, okay. So let's say they go here. Now it's obvious what I need to do, okay. I'm going to block them, and that's the same spot that I need to have 2 ways to win. And it's right here in the middle. Okay, you see that? Have 2 ways, so now it doesn't matter which one they block. I still win. Alright guys, believe it or not, I still have one more thing to go over with you guys, okay? Just hang in there. I know I've gone over a lot in this video, but this is probably going to be the most important part. Now, up until now, if you've been watching all my videos, you've probably realized that in all the examples I've shown, we've been on the offensive. We've been going first and have been trying to win. Well, and I've been leaving it up to you just to figure out from that knowledge how to avoid losing, right, if your opponent goes first. But in this case, it's a little bit different. I need to show you guys what to do if you're on the defensive. So if your opponent goes first and he goes into the side spot, the best move for you to do is just going to be go right next to him on either side of him, okay? So I'm going to pick one. Okay, if I go there, what's unique now to this game is my opponent now can actually lose in 3 different ways. There's 3 spaces that if he goes into, even though he's on the offensive, he will automatically lose, okay? And it's 3 spots right here. If he goes into any one of those, he'll automatically lose. Now I'm going to show you what to do if he goes in one of those spots. So start with this top right one right here. If he goes in there, what you're going to do is just go right below yourself on the side, right? Just one row below where he went, but staying on the same side where you went on your first move. So it's going to be right here. If I go right there, now he's obviously going to block me. And then I am going to go in the middle to block him and have 2 ways to win. Even though I'm on the defensive, so you now have 2 ways to win, so it doesn't matter which one he chooses to block, I still win, okay? So let's do that again so I can show you guys the other ones. So he goes into the side first. I go there. Now let's do this spot right here, okay? If he goes there, now what you need to do to guarantee yourself the win is, again, go one row down, but stay on the same side as your first move. So right here in this bottom left-hand corner space. If I go there now, again, he's going to block me. And then again, I need to go in the middle to block him and have 2 ways to win. Okay, you see that 2 ways? So he's just going to block one, and I still win. Okay, so now I have one more left to show. Okay, so now in this one, if he goes into this bottom space right here, what you're going to do is, obviously, you're going to block him right now. Okay, and then he is obviously going to block you. And now you are obviously going to block him. And you have, look, 2 ways to win now. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one he blocks, you still win. Now, if your opponent does not go into one of those 3 spaces that we just talked about in the last example, then it's probably going to end in a tie. Okay, if he goes into any one of these 3 spaces, then to keep it simple, the rule I'm going to give you is just automatically go in the middle. That'll guarantee that you won't lose and it'll end in a tie. Okay, let me show you just one of these. I'm not going to go over all these 3, but let me show you just one. So if he goes underneath you in this bottom left-hand corner, which is one of the examples I showed before when we were on the offensive, then again, the rule you're going to apply is just go in the middle. So then he has to block you, and then you have to block him. Then it doesn't matter where he goes, you're going to block him, he's going to block you. And it ends in a tie, okay? Now, the last spot that we haven't covered when we are on the defensive is if he just goes in the middle. Well, this one is also going to end in a tie. Alright guys, that's it. This concludes this video series on how to never lose at tic-tac-toe. If you've watched all 3 of the videos and you've taken the time to memorize the rules, then you should never lose again at tic-tac-toe. What you should go do now is find a friend or someone else that's watched these videos, and if you were to play, say, 100 games, not that you would do that, but if you were to play 100 games in a row, nobody should ever win. You should just tie all the time. That way you know you're playing perfect. If someone loses, then they didn't follow one of the rules in my videos, and you need to go back and review that type of game. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed these videos, and until next time, this is Chase Bros signing out for now.